jana jaya yamuna tiravanachari jaya kunja bihari jaya radha madhava kunja bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayed Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 16. Mamasta hyatadascharya sarvascharya mayuchyate ya idam mayaya devya srajatyantya hanta srajatyanti hantyajaha. Mamasta hyetadat ascharyam sarvascharmayochyate ya idam mayaya devya srjatyanti hantyajaha. Anyone who wants to repeat? Mamastha hyatadascharya sarvasacharmayuchyate ya idam mayaya devya sudhyatyanti hantyajaha. Mamastha hyatadascharya sarvascharya mayuchyate ya idam mayaya devya sujatvantyati hantyajaha. Mamastha hyatadascharya sarvascharya mayuchyate ya idam mayaya devya sujatvati hantyajaha. Okay. Transliteration. Ma, do not. Mamastaha, think. He, certainly. Etat, all these. Ascharyam, wonderful. Sarva, all. Ascharya in the all mysterious. Achyute, the infallible. Yah, one who. Idam, the creation. Mayaya, by his energy. Devya, transcendental. Sujati, creates. Avati, maintains. Hanti, annihilates. Ajaha, unborn. Translation. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The activities of the Lord are always inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all his actions are wonderful for us, and thus he is always beyond the range of our inconceivable limits. The Lord is the all-powerful, all-perfect personality of Godhead. The Lord is 100% perfect, whereas others, namely Narayana, Brahma, Shiva, and the demigods and all other living beings possess only different percentages of such perfection. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is unrivaled. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yenam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So actually this shloka, in the previous shloka, as we talk about prayers by Lord Kunti in this chapter, the context is actually how Ashwatthama released the Brahmastra and how Lord Krishna comes to protect, you know, the baby inside the womb. So one should think that Brahmastra actually is not an ordinary weapon because it is capable of destroying the whole universe. But as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya mata pata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavas samanvitaha. Actually, Bhagwan is the creator and annihilation of everything. So he can decide what to be created and what to be annihilated because he understands the energy. A simple scientific explanation can be given is, if you want to live in water, you have to be able to have composition of water, and you can annihilate and create. Similarly, Bhagwan, everything is present of his indirect, inconceivable potencies. That's why Bhagwan is able to create and annihilate anything, because everything is his energy. The aspect of Brahmastra, actually there are many places actually this has happened before. So one place which has actually happened about Brahmastra being used, here also as Krishna says that always in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, always to protect the Bhagavatas and the devotees. So Bhagavan is always doing that. So one such event is there where Brahmastra was used. So when Lord Rama was there, and this incident happened when Sita and Rama are in the forest. And this is actually narrated in Sundarakandam in the context where Hanuman goes to visit Lanka to find Sita. And when he actually goes and finds Sita, he actually gives Rama's ring. And that is how he actually Sita understands, because many times Ravana comes to convince Sita to say marry him. The demons and the Rakshasas come to convince him. But Rama has his ring, which is significant as a king, and that is the ring he gives to Hanuman to actually say that I am the messenger of Lord Rama. So at that time, how Hanuman narrates the pastime is actually starts narrating his childhood of Rama and everything. So similarly, as once Hanuman, Sita becomes comfortable and Hanuman identifies himself, Sita also shares an aspect, because this is all Leela between Sita and Hanuman. But for us, the explanation is that Hanuman also wanted to know if this Sita is not some Rakshasi who has taken a form, strict. So he also wants to hear the pastime actually as a devotee, not that he's missed outing Sita. He wants to hear, as it is said, the pastimes heard about Lord not by the Lord directly himself, by his Bhagavatas is more sweeter than Bhagavan himself. So obviously Sita was present in the Dandakaranya forest, and when they are there, so once Lord Rama was sleeping on Sita's lap, and it so happens that a crow comes, and this crow actually is son of Indra. So what happens is, Jayanta is his name, and the demigods decide to test, saying, how come Lord Rama never gets angry at anything? Actually, in fact, it is true that he never gets angry at all. Yes, for few things he has, and this is one instance. So Lord Rama is sleeping on Sita's lap, and this crow comes, and the significance also is Jayanta could have taken any other form of a Pakshi, but he took crow. Crow is considered a bird which is the Vahanam, which we say the vehicle of Shani Dev, and also it is that which kind of communicates offerings of Pitrus or ancestors, right, to take back. So Jayanta decides to take smartly the form of a crow, because he knows that Rama's father has passed away. So if he takes the crow, he will have sympathy towards the crow, because generally speaking people will not harm crows, considering it's a communicator for the Pitrus. So what Jayanta does is, and why he says, actually the deeper meaning in Sanskrita is also kaka is what we say ka. So it is who is she. So really it is to identify is what is position of Sita Devi and how merciful this aspect comes, and where Brahmastra is also used in this pastime. So it so happens that Jayanta takes the form of a crow and he pecks at Sita's chest, and immediately what happens is when he pecks the chest, it starts bleeding. Sita, of course, does not want to get up, so she continues to bear the pain in spite of Rama sleeping on his lap. The crow continues to come again, and it pecks more and tries to, plug the skin. And she doesn't scream, but so what she does is she tries to shake her jewelry, whichever she is wearing. As you can understand, that Sita is not in the forest wearing a lot. The pastime of Ravana kidnapping her is after this, actually. That is, so just to people understand, this is negated afterwards when Sita is in Lanka. So when she shakes her jewelry, obviously Rama gets up. So Rama sees this crow, and of course he is not ordinary person, he is Bhagavan himself, so he understands what is happening. So harm to him, as we say, is not a problem, but harm to his devotee or Bhagavata, especially to Sita, who is his consort, cannot be explained. So immediately he takes a blade of grass and he utters the mantra, just like here Krishna protected with against Brahmastra. He takes a blade of grass and he throws actually the Brahmastra towards the crow. Obviously this was something as where Jayanta came from Swarga. Obviously the demigods and Indra and all decided, okay, let us test, but they never expected this what will happen. So obviously he goes to Indra. Indra says, I cannot save you from this. So he goes to Shiva. Shiva says, I also cannot stop this. He goes to Brahma. He goes all three worlds. No matter what is the Brahmastra. The Brahmastra, actually it is said, it is not like our, we can say, okay, modern missiles have tracking, but Brahmastra is that which is uttered by mantra. And once it is uttered, it has to find a target. It cannot be taken back. Like for example, so finally what he decides is Kakasura says Jayanta as a crow. He basically goes and he falls at Rama's feet, but no avail. But then he sees Sita and he asks forgiveness. So Sita decides to forgive him. So what Rama says is in the Brahmastra is, I cannot stop the Brahmastra, but I have to hit it somewhere. So he actually directs it at Jayanta's right eye. That is why you will see that crows are kind of cockeyed. This is the reason why actually the reason is there. So of course, as we can see in the previous shloka where Lord Krishna protects Ashwatthama's released Brahmastraha. Similarly, Krishna also take weapons but to protect his devotee. Like we can see when Bhishma Dev was fighting and how he lifted the chariot wheel to go rush against him. So Bhagavan knows when to protect and when to annihilate his devotees actually. The other thing aspect is Kakasura, it is said that, as we know, that in order to surrender to Bhagavan, you either need to have Nityananda Tattva or Radha Tattva. So Kakasura surrendered to Sita Devi. That is why he got protected. Jai Shri Kalachanji. So we can see that direct surrender to Bhagavan, though recommended, is preferred, but it will not be applicable to Jivatmas like us. We either have to approach through a guru or the right bona fide authority. So Kakasura gets the mercy of Sita Devi of how exactly, in spite of doing such a heinous act, he is given the mercy actually. The similar pastime is there where the inconceivable potency, as we say, mysterious. So there was another incident regarding this. There was a devotee called Kak Bhushandi, which is there in Ramcharitamanas, many people know, but it is said that he was a very great Bhagavata and his guru used to talk a lot about Lord Rama and Lord Shiva, but he was so puffed up that once his guru was in the temple, it so happened that he was so engrossed in worshipping Lord Shiva that basically disrespected his guru. Lord Shiva cursed him that 1,000 births you will become a snake and other formless kind of creatures. His guru requested to forgive Lord Shiva, saying, please, he made a mistake. So he said, after the 1,000 births, he will become a great devotee of Lord Rama. So it so happens that after the 1,000 births, he actually becomes a very good Bhagavata, and it's called Khak Bhushandi. So there, once he goes to a rishi called Lomasa, and he is giving pravachanam. So as he is giving pravachanam about Lord Rama, Khak Bhushandi is fully focused on Lord Rama and only surrendered to him, actually, as a devotee. So Lomasa initially starts talking about Nirguna, and then he wants to talk about Sadguna. He becomes immediately frustrated that this person is talking about Nirguna. So he kind of little bit quirks, and Lomasa curses him immediately to become a crow, actually speaking there. And it so happens that, of course, Lord Rama knows that this Khak Bhushandi is such a great devotee of his. So he says that Lomasa, that you should forgive him and tell him all the Vedic, whichever philosophy of Sadguna itself, right, of the beauty of the Lord in his form. It so happens that Khak Bhushandi is so self-realized that he can fly across different universes and different time and also see. So once it so happens, why we say inconceivable, is the power of Khak Bhushandi was he always wants to visit Lord Rama as a child in Ayodhya, actually. And once so happens is he sees this child, and Lord Rama is a baby. So Khak Bhushandi comes as a crow, and he tries to play around Lord Rama as a baby and tries to fly. He thinks this is an ordinary child, that is a potency of Bhagavan. But Khak Bhushandi starts flying to Swargaloka and other universes. No matter wherever he is flying, he always sees the Lord Rama as a child. His fingers are always close to his feathers, no matter whatever he does. And finally he gets swallowed also, and he goes through multiple universes, and then he realizes that that this is not an ordinary child. It is Lord Rama, is Bhagavan himself, and he gets darshanam of his, as he is a devotee. So Bhagavan plays these inconceivable tricks, actually speaking, about how his devotees are, and of course they are not tested. It is more about Bhagavan wants to enjoy his pastime, with his Bhagavatas. That is the right way to put it. The other aspect of inconceivable potency, there is a nice shlokam written in Tamil by one of the Alvars, and describes actually the grace of Lord Krishna. It says, Angan ma nalat tarasar abhiman mangan mai vandu pallil kattir kiye sangam irupar pol vandu thalai pedum Jai Shri Radha Kalachanji kingi vaichu cheide tamarai pupole. So he says that the gopis always described Lord Krishna as their abhimana suntanai, which means that always with their state of freedom they come to worship Lord Krishna. Actually, the gopis declare their anaharya. The word is called sheshatvam. That is the right word, actually. It means exclusive servitor to the Lord and Lord alone. The gopis are always like this. So in spite of knowing Lord Krishna as a baby, right, as a child they have seen, but in their heart they always have this anavarya sheshatvam, always having exclusive servitude to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Actually, this is one thing. The other aspect is this: there are 8 aspects actually of delusions a human being has, which is called in Tattva Jnanam. One is delusion that one's body is Atma. The second is that one is Swatantran, that one is completely independent and we can do whatever we want. The third aspect is we are servants to some other than Sri Krishna. Fourth, that there are other deities or devatas who can help us attain moksham or liberation. Delusion that one can attain his lotus feet by other than bhakti or prapatti. The sixth is deep desire to wallow in perishable pleasures, in material desires. Seventh is delusion that we do everything of our own power. And eighth is delusion that that tendency to commit Bhagavata Vacharam or offenses, actually. These 8 delusions are kind of present in us. So the explanation is given is actually that Lord's eyes are like the sun and the moon. Why? Because the sun is that which purifies everything by heat and destroys and purifies, and moon is that which gives soothing rays and cools it. So that's why in Purusha Suktam it says Chakshor Suryo Aja Ataha, means one eye of the Lord is compared to the sun and other is to the moon. The comparison is given that Lord's eyes are also at the same time purifying and also cooling to the Bhagavata. The other aspect is Lord's eyes, when we see Bhagavan's eyes, is always soothing. Why? Because a person is always recognized, as we say, we see someone's heart through their eyes. Bhagavan is Sachidanandam Vigraha. So his eyes always contain beauty only. There is never any point of contamination. Like it is said in this slokam, like the purport says, he is infallible, he is perfect. So Bhagavan's eyes, as beautiful they may look, but if you look at Lord Krishna's eyes, they always have purity actually. In any state, any form we look at it. So that is why there are a lot of slokams which are described about the potency of Bhagavan and how beautiful his eyes are also, right? But this is the one reason, because we as Jivatmas are always attracted to seek happiness and pleasure, but of course we have material desires. But looking at Bhagavan's eyes, why they say it removes contamination is because it is Sachidanandam Vigraha. Yes, every form of Bhagavan we look at his Tribhanga form, his feet, his conch shell, his marks on his feet, his lines on his chest, everything is beautiful by itself, but eyes also have a significance. One other pastime actually which shows the what we call the transcendental energy is obviously, as we know, is when Lord Krishna eats mud, right? As we all must have heard about it. So there actually where Bhagavan Krishna shows the universal form to Yashoda. So you can see that, for example, when Krishna and Balram were playing with his friends, right? Obviously Mother Yashoda caught hold of Krishna. Krishna is doing all kinds of mischief every time, and it so happens that even as children Balram and Krishna wear ornaments. So in those days, today we have electricity. Those days there is no electricity. There are candles, or people wear diyas and all that stuff. So obviously they are young children and they go to rob all kinds of butter and everything. So what they say is Mother Yashoda also removes their ornaments, because they think like because of the ornaments, the light can reflect and they are able to find all the butter which is hidden like that. But somehow the gopis come and say that in spite of removing everything, there is a effulgence coming from Krishna and Balram, that no matter what we do in a dark room, they are able to find everything where is hidden. So what is the inconceivable potency? So that is the Sachidanandam Vigraha, right? Where Bhagavan's effulgence is always purifying. It is always emanating. We see, yes, personalities have aura which we understand, but Bhagavan's aura is always effervescent, is always present, and it is not something where it's a question of, oh, it's an awe and reference. It is a beauty which is exquisite. So after that, what happens is Yashoda, she decides that all these boys are all speaking against me, and one day, as we know in Brahmanda Ghat, there Krishna is saying basically, children always have this aspect of eating earth. So obviously Krishna takes and goes and eats dirt. Then all the Balram and all the Gopas, they all complain saying that no, we didn't eat anything, Krishna only ate. So basically they threw Krishna under the bus in a humorous, of course this is the playful pastime between the young Gopas and Krishna and Balaram. And we know that actually immediately Yashoda gets angry and she chastises him. And she says, Krishna, open your mouth. So immediately Krishna opens the mouth just like a child. No, he is so subservient. though he is Bhagavan himself and the whole universe, as he say, Aham Sarvasya Prabho Mata Sarvam Pravartate, he says, Aham Bija Pradapita Sarva Yoneshu Kaunteya. He is the seed giving father of everything. But it so happens that he just opens his mouth, and there Yashoda sees the whole universe, all creations, all multiple multitudes of universes floating, and she gets completely, she sees the sun, the moon, the stars, the beauty, and in fact, you can imagine it is not the universal form. Krishna is this small, and his mouth only is this big. And when Yashoda opens her mouth, she is immersed in it, because as we say, Adaram Madhuram means Bhagwan's every feature is beautiful. His tongue, his teeth, his lips. So imagine looking into his mouth, she gets immersed actually. So the whole universe creation is there. So out of her love is transformed, of course, as we know that Krishna's energy allows for these pastimes to happen, these leelas to happen. But Yashoda could not find what she was looking for. She says everything is there, and she takes Krishna in her lap, right? And she's struck by this awe and wonder. How is that something she is imagining or something she is really seeing actually? Then she prays, right? Of course, uh, she says, she prays to Krishna, says, let me offer my respectful obeisances to him, under whose illusionary energy I am thinking that Nanda Araj is my husband and Krishna is my son, and all the properties are my subjects. All this misconception is due to the illusionary energy of Supreme Lord. So let me pray to him that he may protect me always. I mean, while Monsieur Yosa was thinking in this high philosophical way, again Krishna expands this internal energy just to bewilder her with material love. And basically, of course, she begins to think, Krishna, this is very wrong, you are doing this mischief, and she gets chastised. So we can see this is one other inconceivable pastime of the Lord, and that's why we see, right, children like to eat mud and dirt because they like to replicate, as Bhagavad Gita in 15th chapter says, right, that whatever is there in the spiritual world is a reflection here. So children kind of see that naturally. Of course, you cannot imitate it. And similarly, I have explained in the past, right, that where Krishna licks his feet, similarly you will see children also lick their feet because they want to, Krishna wants to taste the beauty of what Bhagavatas see in his feet, but children will imitate that. So these are some of the inconceivable potencies of the Lord, right? Similar pastime is Govardhana hill, where Krishna just lifts it. I mean, every pastime of Bhagavan is always beautiful, is inconceivable for our tiny brains to understand. But only with love and affection is how. Like, if you look at how Mother Yashoda, how beautifully she thought, it's only my child. Why is he eating mud? I have to chastise him. So, uh, as a Bhagavata, yes, we live in the material universe, but eventual aspect of going into as we all have our eternal relationship with Bhagwan in whichever way we worship him and whatever form we want him, he enables that. And when that anartha nivritti is released, then naturally that is revealed to us is what is our transcendental nature and position and how we can experience it further. So whether we chant his name, you can imagine, I mean, as we see all these pastimes and we see Radha Kalachandji and Krishna here, but the same thing will naturally happen is when after we are out of this material body, and eventually we will be in the eternal pastimes with his Bhagavatas. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, keep chanting Nam Namakari Bahuda, chant his names, purify oneself and immerse in his holy name, and then we will experience that transcendental pleasure to serve him. So this is some of the inconceivable and mysterious potencies of his transcendental energy. I don't think in 20 minutes, I think there are innumerous pastimes to talk about Bhagavan's transcendental energy. So I will end today's class, and if people want to share some points, any questions, that's all I can say. Hare Krishna. No, nice point. Yes, correct, Prabhuji. Yeah, we are very tiny, infinitesimal, right? I mean, there are so many Bhagavatas who are present, who are far ahead of us, and and that's why humility is always preached, and that's why we say that if you see in every pastime of Bhagavan, whenever the Jivatma or whoever they realize they are, as you correctly said, the constitutional position that we are just a small part. Bhagwan himself picks that Jivatma up. Actually, that's how it is. Uh, no matter wherever is there, like even Kakasura, he thought he is great, he did something, but the moment he realized I am helpless, that is why one of the aspect of surrender to Bhagwan is meekness. Humility is important, but meekness is a very important factor, which is called an important angam itself of surrender to Bhagwan. The moment we feel meek, like Draupadi, I raise my hand, I am meek, I can't do anything. That is where it is. In fact, to share a little bit more, the after once we surrender to Bhagwan and His protection, if we think that okay, I will take care of myself, not take, I mean, I'm not talking in the normal material sense, but in a case of difficulty or something, and we surrender to Bhagwan, then we have to leave that responsibility to Him. If we don't leave to Him, then Krishna will say, okay, I will watch. And that is when karma takes over. Because many people have this question that I'm living here, because as we know from Bhagavad Gita, there is prarabdha karma, there is sanchita, and there is karma which is continuing day to day also. So the thing is, the day we feel, as you said, we feel in control, we are not tiny, and then the moment we feel we let it go, that's when he takes it. So no, nice point. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, I didn't think the mic is working. Yeah, go ahead. Try if it's if other people. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Right. Right. No, thank you, Mataji. Yeah, that's why I said there are so many inconceivable potencies. I can't do justice to the shloka to describe of how many potencies and pastimes of Bhagavan are there. Thank you, Mataji, for the point of Ambarisha Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. Yes, yes, Mataji. It's okay, you can repeat it. I'll try to see if I can. You mean in the real world? Well, okay, so let me say this. The pastime between Hanuman and This is, of course, it is in Sundara Kandam, which is, by the way, just to say this, which I have said before, of all the 7 Kandams which is there in Valmiki Ramayanam, that Kandam is called Sundara Kandam, means it's the most beautiful, because the aspect of Hanuman going to meet Sita is one of the most beautiful aspect. But of course, just to clarify this, the doubt which is looking from Hanuman to Sita and vice versa, actually Sita knows everything and so does Hanuman. But for us, it is for us to realize actually. In fact, Sita never leaves Lord Rama. She's always at his chest actually. But to answer your question, Mataji, that you're saying if people in the real, is that, if I understand correctly, can you repeat the? Yeah, so we could take, yes, every aspect of pastime of Bhagavan is actually to make us understand that in the real world we live in Kali Yuga today. That was Treta Yuga. There could be many people who could be, there are some people who are sincere but are on the path of trying. But in Kali Yuga there are also people who are not very sincere. So we have to use our mind and intelligence, right, to watch out. Uh, so that is absolutely correct. Yeah, so this, of course, as we know that there will be degradation of Kali Yuga day by day as it goes on. That is how Bhagavan is created. But at the same point, as we say Hasti Eko Managuna, means by chanting Bhagavan's name and purifying, whether we are coming to temple or people are doing at home, eating prasadam or having satsangam, that is a one way to actually protect ourselves. Actually, that is the only way. As we say, Kalau Nasti Eva, chant Krishna's name. That is the only way. And of course, one also we must also know this, that as we know, though there are 3 types of kleshas, that Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidaivika, but each individual Jivatma, we also have our karma. So karma cannot be just, yes, it can be extinguished, but that can only be extinguished if we are completely detached from the body. I mean, if I were to give a scientific example, that if someone pinches me, I will feel pain right away, immediately. But if I am not attached to this body, I have nothing, then I will not feel pain. But it is not possible. That karma is there. So that's why Bhagavan says, Yat karosi yadasnasi ajhosi dadasyad. Whatever you do, think of me. Tat kuruso madarpanam. You do as an offering to me. So that is the way to protect ourselves from other external influences in Kali Yuga. So that is the only way we can do. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Mataji. No, Prabhuji, you had, no, he had a, yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Prabhuji. Yeah. Okay, I think just I'll repeat the question, so just for people here. So I think the question is, some person has been following, the principles in chanting and he's not feeling the face, or how Anartha Nivritti is there. So the answer to that is, there are different stages, as we know, in chanting of the holy name. And of course, even Anartha Nivritti, there is Ruchi, Asakti, there are different things which come on a technical classification. But Prabhuji, the one thing important for all of us, and even today, is we have taste, for example, of certain objects or things based on prarabdha karma, which is natural, right? Let me give it in a very positive way. So, uh, Prabhuji may like spicy food, you may like sweet food, Just an example, though vegetarians, right? Prasadam. I mean, even in prasadam, right? People have different taste. So that's nothing wrong. It's this Krishna prasadam. But when it comes to taste, Prabhuji, the first stage is anartha nivritti. Like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, that's cheto darpana marjanam. So it is not something like, and that's why if you see acharyas too, and even us, just because we chanted today and we feel some taste, whatever it could be, we never stop it. It will be ongoing. It's like this. For example, taste of Bhagavan is actually loving Bhagavan and doing servitude to him or his Bhagavatas. So one can't say that today I love someone and tomorrow my love will become less for him. Like that. So, but to answer your question, the only solution to that is they have to chant. If they are not feeling the taste, there is only, the only solution is to chant Bhagavan's name. And other thing which Prabhupada has also said is, he has always said it is devotional service. Devotion to Bhagavan is chanting Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu we do. But for us practically, devotional service is what helps. Or we say Bhagavat Kainkaryam, right? In the Sanskrit word it is called like that. But actually devotional service is important. So for a person like that, he may feel like, we know sometimes Prabhupada has said, a person is coming, let him wash some utensils. He comes to do cooking, he cuts vegetables, right? Because our mind, we are not a yogi where we can say we can sit 24/7. Even if you chant 16 rounds, our mind will fluctuate. So we have to dovetail ourselves into doing some service, and better to do that service for Krishna. Yes, apart from maintaining, one's occupation and everything, the rest of the time you have to do it. So for this person, the thing is, there is said, right, I don't feel taste, so how am I supposed to have the faith? But there is said, there's a saying that in order to develop faith in something, you have to take a leap of faith first. You have to take a leap. So for any Bhagavata, it's a good question. It applies to all of us, actually speaking, that even for us, sometimes our mind may want, of course, I'm not talking of regulative principles, right? Sometimes our mind may waver in something else. But then at that time, we have to think and say, Bhagavan, I am thankful to you that you have given me this opportunity to utter your holy name. Then let me focus on chanting. That is the only way which will purify and remove that. And that it is explained actually, Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and other people have said that in order to experience that taste, like Prabhupada has also given like jaundice, right? If we have illness, we will not feel the taste. So till we chant and till we purify ourselves, then only the taste will come. And that is why Prabhupada has said, feed prasadam. Because it is one way of purifying one's body. It is one way of purifying one's body. So hearing Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, right? So those 9 forms, whoever is, and it applies even today also, we are all doing similar thing. So if we don't do it, then we could deviate actually. So for that person and any one of us, that is the only solution which is told by every Acharya and Prabhupada and everyone else. In fact, even Krishna says, Man mada bhavad bhakto madhya jiva namaskuru. He says, meditate upon me, think about me. That is the only way we'll purify ourselves. So I hope, I can only repeat what Acharyas have said. This is the only solution given, and it is applicable even to me also today. I cannot, there is no escape. It's like, the answer is like Kunti says in this prayer, if you are not there, who do I surrender to? After all, you are the only one. The sarva, as we say, Ishvara Karma Prishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindam Sarva Karana Karanam, means you are the only one. Because sometimes what happens is people in difficulties and many other things, they'll say, we may go somewhere, but ultimately it is only going to come back to him. So, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stressed so much that Namna Makari Bahuda. So that is the only way to actually remove that anartha nivritti. The other aspect of taste, this is a little more deeper aspect, is people think of taste as, for example, like, of course, raso apsu kaunteya, as Krishna says, right? I am the taste of water and everything, the smell and the fragrance. People think that um, taste of Krishna consciousness means sometimes, oh, I have to feel a auristic feeling. Actually, one will feel more humble from within. That is actually the aspect of, the more we get closer to Bhagavan, the more we are devoted to him. The inner, we see, right? We see acharyas, whether Prabhupada and many other Bhagavatas, the peacefulness, right? Of course, they exhibit strength in behavior when required and courage, but there is a humility aspect and that peace aspect. So that taste is actually that. It is realization that Bhagavan is always there with us. We chant, right? Bahir Narsimo, Hirdayar Narsimo. We chant it. Every day when we talk and we move, we should feel like that. Why we say that is because, as we know, right, as Paramatma is inside, so we will never think of straying somewhere else. We know that inner conscience tells us to not do something wrong, right, or be on the right track. But the other way to think is, when one gets purified and is humble enough, that feeling will be, I am his servant always. That is the taste. The taste is not like, I have become great. The taste is, I am last in the line actually. If you go to the spiritual world, the answer is why. Actually, if I were to give the analogy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tranadapi Sunichena. Imagine at whatever opportune time when Bhagavan wants and we quit our body, we go back to the spiritual world. There are countless Jivatmas and his associates already serving him. We will be last in the line. But we will never feel disheartened. In the material universe, we want to be first in the line. But there, we will be more happy that someone else is serving, because there is no aspect of course, everyone gets opportunity, because Bhagavan is, there is no concept of time, and there everyone can have personal association based on his bhavam and everything else. But one will never feel like, oh, that I am last of the line. So that humility is what actually is the taste. That's why the 8 slokams which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, you can relate every philosophy to the 8. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only wrote 8 Shikshashtakam. So, thank you for the wonderful point, Prabhuji. It applies to all of us even today, actually. Well, actually, the other aspect is not only that, he thinks, how can I help others feel the taste? Krishna, yes, actually that is actually the highest form we say as a devotee. We should, I don't think even I can say that. The slokam we should say, Ashlisyava Padaratam, means whether he likes my service or no, I will still give it to him. So, as you said, so that is up to him. But the thing is, if I can get someone else to come before me, not ahead of me, if I can, ahead of me means in the sense like, if I can help someone feel Bhagavan's taste, and he can go before me to Bhagavan's abode, that is actually the highest form of devotional service, which is not, which is only possible by stalwarts of acharyas. We are not that. Nice point. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you had something or no? Okay. I think we are good for today. So thank you for all sharing your points, Mataji, Prabhuji. Very nice and nice questions. So thank you for the opportunity. Vrindaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
भजहुरे मना श्रीनंदनंदना अभय चरणारविंदारे भजहुरे मना श्रीनंदनंदना अभय चरणारविंदारे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरह भव सिंधुरे दुर्लभ मानव दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरह भव सिंधुरे भजहुरे मन श्रीनंदनंदन अभय चरणारविंदारे भजहुरे हे धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इथे की अच्छे परती तीरे हे धन यौवन हे धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इथे की अच्छे पर तीरे कमल जल दल जीवन टलमल भज हरिपद नीति रे कमल जल दल जीवन टलमल भज हरिपद नीति रे भजहुरे मन श्रीनंदनंदन अभय चरणारविंदारे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे तरह भव सिंधुरे सीतया तप बात बरीषण ए दिन जामिनी जागिरे सीतया तप बात बरी हे दिन जामिनी जागी विफल से बिनो कृपण दुरजन चपल सुखल बलागिरे विफल से बिनो कृपण दुरजन चपल विफल से बिनो कृपण दुरजन चपल सुखल बलागिरे ए धन যৌবন পুত্র পরিজন ইথে কি আছে পরতি তীরে এ ধন যৌবন जीवन टलमल कमल जलदल जीवन टलमल भज हरिपद नीति रे सबन कीर्तन सबन मातन सबन कीर्तन स्मरण पाद सेवन धीरे पाद आत्मनिवेदन पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दासय अभिलाष रे पूजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दासय अभिलाष रे भजहु रे मनसि नंदन नंदन अभय चरणार बिंद रे भजहु रे मन भजहु रे मन श्रीनंदन नंदन अभय चरणार बिंद रे भजहु रे दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे दुर्लभ मानव दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे दुर्लभ मानव तर हरि बाबा सिंधुरे तर हरि